Hey, it's Fountain, and today I'm going to do a little video on why I moved from New Zealand to Australia. And I'm also aware that some of you are not living in any of those places while I'm recording this, while I'm sharing this. And I guess some of you might not know where that is in the sense of the world. And I do want to confirm they are considered to be two separate nations or states or whatever you want to call it. But they're very somewhat close together, and obviously in the near the Pacific Ocean. In the continent, I guess some people call it Australasia. So yeah, I haven't heard that word in a while. Anyway, I digress. So I've grown up in New Zealand and lived there pretty much all my life, and I moved away from there about 3 years ago, and I've been in Australia for about 2.5 years while I'm recording this. And I still really love New Zealand, and don't get me wrong, I really do love the place. But there was just a couple of things that I just had a little bit of trouble obtaining in abundance there, and with these things that I wanted. And why I moved there, I guess I'd moved to Australia. I'd wanted to move to Australia for quite a number of years prior to coming here. And I guess you could say the reasons I'm going to explain are more sort of like logical, three-dimensional kind of reasons. But they also, I guess, during my travels before I come to Australia, I had a few experiences where I guess universe, whatever you want to call it, was kind of edging me in that way. And so I moved to Brisbane. I had never been there in my life. Didn't actually know anybody that lived here, and was my partner at the time. We literally just finished travelling, and the last stop was Brisbane, and we just thought, well, we'll just give it a go. Why not? And I'm still here. So I guess let's get to the two main three-dimensional reasons. Very logical thinking kind of reasons. The reason I moved here is because of weather and because of food. Weather because I like tropical weather, and food because I like ripe tropical fruit. And neither of those things are in abundance in New Zealand. Now, I know that you can actually change a lot about your perspective and who you are from even just living in the same place all your life. As much as we're kind of led to believe that we need to like travel and to have all these things to change ourselves, it's still possible to actually do that in one place. But I guess with the sense of travel and whatnot, or moving different places, it's like an external kind of reflection, and it becomes easier for people to change through that way, whereas staying in the one place and changing through being in the same location, I guess it takes more inner drive or inner work to create those changes, if you get what I mean about that. So so like I said, you can still change a lot by not actually really moving, but when it comes to things like food and weather, like you can't really, especially when the food is really reliant upon the weather, right? You can't really change the weather and change the food in that sense. And I guess like that's a video for another day, in the sense that you potentially do have the ability to change things like that. But that's a video for a whole other day, and we're getting way out of the logical side of the brain thinking there with that. So anyway, so I can't change the weather, and well, it's best not to. And sounds silly saying it, doesn't it? Or hearing that. And I can't really change the food. I mean, you can obviously get, some tropical fruit, but it's not really ripe, and it's not really organic, and it's got to come from quite a far away place to get to New Zealand. So here I am, still living in Australia, and I can do a video on like why I'm here still, and and maybe even one about like slight differences between the two as well, especially for those that like don't know, like if they want to come to this side of the world, should they go to one or the other or experience both, or yeah. So I think I've covered all that I wanted to cover. I moved to Brisbane because I like tropical fruit and I like tropical weather. And yeah, as crazy as that might sound, and I still, some people I meet are like, really? But that's okay, that's all right. Like, I'm like, you just never really had a really good chocolate sapote or custard apple before. And, you know, like I consider myself in a place of reasonable privilege in that I can choose to be in Australia and stay living here on a New Zealand citizenship. It makes working, if I want to work for somebody, really easy. You know, taxes and things, like all of that stuff's really, really quite easy here. I mean, social welfare and stuff is not really attainable, but that's not really something that I desire, or I don't really I'd rather not use that, if you get what I mean. Anyway, this has probably gone on long enough about a video that I just wanted to talk about fruit and weather. And I will see you in the next video.